Ethan is a 38-year-old orthopedic surgeon in Chicago earning $380,000 a year. He drives a leased BMW X5, pays $4,800 a month for a high-rise condo overlooking Lake Michigan. His kids attend private school, another $3,000 monthly. Weekends are reservations, not groceries. A $12 lunch quietly became $25, then normal. On paper, he looks like he made it. But last month, when his car needed a $5,000 repair, he hesitated because he didn't have it in cash. Not without putting it on a credit card. Not without selling something. $380,000 a year, and $5,000 is a problem. That story sounds extreme. It isn't. According to a 2025 Goldman Sachs report, 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Even more surprising, 40% of those earning over $500,000 say the same. Read that again. Most people assume high income solves financial stress. The data says it doesn't. Hey, I'm Brian, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people who earn more still feel stuck. If you think of this as peer review for your financial decisions, this might be the highest return you'll get on your time. This is what I call the high-income poverty trap. It's a system where rising income silently triggers rising lifestyle costs at the same pace, sometimes faster. The result is predictable. More money comes in, but nothing meaningful stays. The trap doesn't care how much you earn. It only cares how much you keep. Let me show you exactly how the trap works, who falls into it, and how to know if you're already caught. The numbers keep stacking in the same direction. A 2025 Bank of America internal study found that spending rises almost proportionally with income once households cross six figures. No surplus effect, just a larger version of the same pattern. The Federal Reserve's 2024 survey of consumer finances shows higher income households carry significantly more total debt, not less. Ramsey Solutions reported in 2025 that nearly half of people earning over $100,000 feel they're living paycheck to paycheck. And here's the part that doesn't make sense at first. According to Empower's 2025 Wealth Report, many high earners define financial success as a number they haven't reached yet, even when they're already in the top income brackets. More income, same pressure. This isn't arithmetic. It's psychology. The mechanism is called lifestyle inflation, the tendency for spending to expand as income grows. A $15 habit becomes $25. A functional car becomes a status symbol. And over time, upgrades stop feeling optional and start feeling necessary. Now compare that to how actual wealth builders behave. In The Millionaire Next Door, researchers found that the majority of millionaires don't look like Ethan. They don't live in luxury buildings. They don't drive leased European cars. In fact, 94% live in middle-class neighborhoods. There's a term for this gap: UAW versus PA, under accumulator of wealth versus prodigious accumulator of wealth. A high-earning doctor leasing a BMW while saving little? That's a UAW. A plumber earning $80,000, driving a paid-off Honda, quietly investing 15% for decades and sitting on $2 million? That's a PA. Same economy, different outcome. Because one optimizes for appearance, the other optimizes for accumulation. Income creates the opportunity. Behavior decides the result. And most people choose the version of wealth you can see. If you're new here and just subscribed, comment your name below. I read every comment and shout out new subscribers in my next video. I do appreciate you joining me on this finance journey. Even if you avoid obvious lifestyle inflation, there's a second layer. The target keeps moving. According to the 2024 Charles Schwab Modern Wealth Survey, Americans said it takes an average of $2,200,000 to feel wealthy. Just a few years earlier, that number was closer to $1 million. Before that, under $1 million. Watch the progression. $500,000 felt like enough. Then $800,000. Then $1 million. Now over $2 million. And it doesn't stop when you get there. Because wealth isn't being measured in isolation. It's being measured relative to other people. So, as your income rises, your definition of enough rises with it. The finish line keeps moving. And you never actually arrive. So where does the money actually go? Not in one dramatic purchase. In dozens of quiet upgrades. Housing expands, dining becomes routine, convenience replaces effort, subscriptions stack, travel shifts, from occasional to expected. And the data shows the result. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, total United States credit card debt reached $1,277 billion in the fourth quarter of 2025, the highest ever recorded. Now, here's the twist. Households earning over $100,000 carry an average credit card balance of $12,760. And the top 20% of earners hold roughly 35% of all credit card debt. High income doesn't eliminate debt. It scales it. Lower income households use credit to survive. Higher income households use credit to maintain a lifestyle that already expanded past their cash flow. Different reason, same dependency, then the trap hardens. Because the biggest expenses aren't flexible anymore. At $80,000 a year, spending 30% on housing might mean $2,000 a month. At $300,000 a year, that same percentage becomes $7,500 a month. Same ratio. Completely different reality. Now layer in private school, car leases, vacation expectations, memberships. These aren't purchases. They're commitments. And once they're locked in, reversing them doesn't feel like optimization. It feels like loss. That's the real constraint. Not financial. Psychological. Data from 2025 consumer surveys shows high earners are more likely to delay lifestyle cuts than actually make them even when cash flow tightens. Because the life they built now expects to be maintained. Zoom out, and the pattern becomes systemic. According to the Bureau of Economic Analysis, the United States personal savings rate was just 3.6% in December 2025. During the pandemic, it briefly spiked above 30%, then collapsed right back down. Income didn't fix behavior. And here's the critical detail: savings rates don't rise meaningfully with income. Someone earning $50,000 saving 4% keeps $2,000. Someone earning $300,000 saving 4% keeps $12,000. Bigger number. Same habit. Actual wealth builders operate differently. They treat saving as a non-negotiable expense, typically at least 15%, taken off the top before anything else. Because over time, the gap between 4% and 15% isn't small. It's life-changing. And then there's the accelerant. Social comparison amplified by algorithms. According to a 2025 consumer spending report, discretionary categories like food delivery, subscriptions, and rideshare services have grown between 18 and 25% year over year. Individually, they feel insignificant. $15 here, $20 there. But repeated daily, they quietly turn into thousands annually. And they're not random. They're influenced. Because you're not just living your life. You're seeing everyone else's version of it constantly. Real millionaires approach this differently. They practice selective frugality. Spend heavily on what matters. Cut ruthlessly on what doesn't. Now add geography. A $200,000 income in Kansas City doesn't behave like a $200,000 income in San Francisco. According to multiple 2024 cost of living analyses, high-cost cities can erase up to 50% of purchasing power compared to lower-cost regions. Same income. Different reality. Which means many high earners aren't actually ahead. They're just compensating for where they live. Location doesn't just influence lifestyle. It quietly determines whether your income creates freedom or just sustains pressure. And this is where the long-term cost shows up. Research consistently shows that 79% of millionaires received no inheritance. Only 31% averaged over $100,000 annually during their careers. 73% never carried a credit card balance. And most took about 28 years to reach $1 million, typically crossing that line around age 49. Slow, consistent, intentional. Now compare that to the high-income poverty trap. Same decades. Same earning potential. But instead of compounding assets, the money compounds obligations. And the difference between those two paths isn't income. It's what happens to the money after it arrives. So go back to Ethan. $380,000 a year. $5,000 still a problem. That's not a math issue. It's a series of unexamined choices. The leased BMW could become a paid-off Honda. The private school could become public or delayed. 4 restaurant nights a week could become 1. Not as punishment, as trade-offs. Because every dollar is already being spent. The only question is whether it's being spent consciously or automatically. This is the shift. The trap isn't about deprivation. It's about intention. Wealth builders don't accidentally save. They decide what matters and fund that first. Everything else gets what's left. A simple habit exposes everything. Review every recurring expense and ask one question. Does this deliver value proportional to its cost? Most answers are uncomfortable. That's where change starts. There's a rule that quietly separates outcomes. Saving what's left after spending doesn't work. Spending what's left after saving does. Take a $300,000 income. At 5%, that's $15,000 saved per year, usually inconsistently. At 15%, it's $45,000 automated before anything else happens. Same income. Same life. Just one system change. And what's left still feels like a high-income lifestyle. Just slightly less maximized. Which is exactly the point. Now stretch that over time. 2 people earn $300,000 for 20 years. Both invest at 7% annually. One saves 30%. The other saves 5%. The first ends up with roughly $4 million. The second, around $650,000. Same income. Same timeline. A difference of over $3 million. That's the cost of the trap. Not in theory. In dollars you never see. High income was supposed to remove financial stress. But the data shows something else entirely. Even at the highest levels, many people are still running just to stay in place. Because income doesn't solve financial problems. Behavior does. And if nothing changes, the pattern scales indefinitely. Until earning more stops feeling like progress and starts feeling like maintenance.